Good evening and welcome to the special board meeting of the Halton District School Board for Wednesday, November 28th, 2018. I'd like to welcome everyone and remind everyone that this meeting is video and voice recorded and live streamed from the hdsb.ca website. I would also like to ask that you turn any devices to silent mode. So all the trustees are present. It looks like Trustee Reynolds is not here, but she's actually on the phone. Superintendents most are here. The ones that are not here are working, I assure you. Okay, so this evening, Trustee Harvey Hope will be honoring the land.
Halton, as we know it today, is rich in history and modern traditions of many First Nations and Métis. From the Anishinaabe to the Attawandaron, the Haudenosaunee, and the Métis, these lands surrounding the Great Lakes are steeped in Indigenous history. As we gather today on these treaty lands, we have the responsibility to honor and respect the four directions: land, waters, plants, animals, ancestors that walk before us, and all the wonderful elements of creation that exist. We would like to acknowledge and thank the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation for sharing their traditional territory with us.
Thank you, Trustee Harvey Hope. Are there any declarations of possible conflict of interest? Seeing none, we are up to the agenda. Before I put the agenda on the table, I'd like to remind everyone that as this is a special board meeting, we cannot add items, specifically motions not related to the current agenda topic to the agenda. So could I have a motion to approve the agenda? Trustee Pappen, seconded by Trustee Oliver. Are there any speakers? Seeing none. We are just going to wait a moment.
No, there's no need to approve the agenda.
Oh, because it's set. Okay, so we'll just move. Thank you very much. So this evening we have our Inspire Award presentations. So everyone in the Halton District School Board community can nominate or be nominated families, neighbors, related organizations, staff, students, and school volunteers. The Inspire Award is given to an individual or a group that is formally or informally associated with the Halton District School Board who support our students and their achievements through exemplary, caring, initiative, innovation, and creativity. Award recipients choose where they would like to receive their award, and this evening we have one Inspire Award presentation. I'd first like to call up Trustee Chowdhury. And I'd also like to call up Duncan Cairns.
A great name, good Scottish name.
So Duncan is a teacher at P.L. Robertson Public School in Milton, working with students of varying learning disabilities. Duncan demonstrates how he is able to change students' perspective and attitude towards school. Parents are grateful for his caring and supportive approach to teaching and say Duncan has inspired their children to learn and participate in the classroom. Duncan has the ability to make students feel hopeful, encouraged, and supported, which enables them to become more independent, social, and brave, and prepares them for the transition to secondary school. Thinking outside the box, and with the understanding that not all children learn the same, Duncan creates opportunities for every student to be successful and engaged in their learning. Congratulations. We did have another Inspire Award winner this month, and this person has chosen to receive their award at their place of work, and that is Cody Harrison, a caretaker from Park Public School. So congratulations, Cody. Okay, so now we're up to our consent agenda items. Do any consent agenda items require discussion? Seeing none, so I'm going to put the motion on the floor. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the consent agenda action items and receive the information items for November 28th, 2018. Moved by Trustee Gray, seconded by Trustee Chowdhury. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor? And that passes unanimously. Thank you very much.
I don't know.
So now we are up to our ratification action items. Number 421, 2017-18 financial statements and accumulated surplus balances. Report 18146 on page 8 of your board package. Superintendent Veerman, welcome to the desk. I'm going to read the recommendation. Be it resolved that the Halton District's, it's going to be slightly different than what's in your package, but it'll mean the same thing. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board authorize the 2017-2018 year-end surplus to be transferred to the accumulated surplus categories. Amounts internally restricted for future use by the board, year-end roll forwards, $810,442 for year-end roll forwards. Student achievement, $749,797 for multi-year operational plan initiatives. Reallocation of funds, $3,300,000 from non-designated surplus, portioned in the following manner: $300,000 to technology and $3 million to closing the gap. Be it resolved that the Halton District School Board approve the audited financial statements for the fiscal year ended August 31st, 2018. Moved by Trustee Harvey Hope, seconded by Trustee Pappen. Are there any speakers to this at all? Seeing none. All those in favor? Trustee Gray? Oh, we still have a question. Oh, okay. Yeah, that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Did someone have a question? I saw.
Yes, I was unsure whether or not Trustee Reynolds was going to participate. I had had a brief discussion with her yesterday, and she did have one question to ask. And I think Anne's even more up to date than I am in that she spoke with Leah today. So I'll turn it over to Anne.
I think I actually answered the question, so I think she did tell me later this afternoon that she didn't need to ask the question anymore. She got between Superintendent Veerman and me the answer that she needed.
Thank you for the update.
May I speak?
Of course you can,
Yes.
Trustee Reynolds.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Trustee Gray, for bringing that up. I'm all good, and I thank you for circling back. Appreciate that. So I'm good.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Okay, next is communications to the board, starting with the director's report.
Thank you, Chair Gervais. I have A few, not very many items tonight, but the first one I want to do is I want to acknowledge that I had an omission at the last board meeting, and I apologize for that, but I should have mentioned this at the time. I recall that at the last board meeting, I thanked Trustee Oliver for going to the Oakville Cenotaph for Remembrance Day, but I neglected to thank or acknowledge that Trustee Pappen was at Nelson High School for their Remembrance Day, and Trustee Harvey Hope was at E.J. James as well. So I know that those staffs and kids would have been very appreciative of that. Secondly, this is the evening of apologies. I owe Trustee Collard an apology because I meant to tell you prior to the meeting, but it's one of your schools, so you need to be aware of this. As you know, one of the boundary reviews that we are going to commence with in the new calendar year is ERA 102, which is around John T. Tuck. We have looked at a few preliminary scenarios that would be presented to the Boundary Review Steering Committee and so on, and some of those preliminary boundary reviews include Frontenac. And so therefore, we had not included Trustee Collard in the initial conversations or at the board, but she represents Frontenac. So I just wanted to make you aware of that and make the public aware that Frontenac will at least be part of it. Whether they ultimately are impacted or not will be the decision of the Board of Trustees based on the recommendation, but it was important that you be made aware. So sorry for not giving you the heads up. So I just want to make a few comments around, as the public is aware, and the people around the inside loop and the outside loop, the trustees, the Board of Trustees, and Leah on the phone, and the senior administrators around the edge, that this is the end of the term. This is the end of the term for the Board of Trustees after 4 rather eventful years, I would say. Perhaps some of the most eventful years that the Halton District School Board has ever experienced. Certainly since I've been sitting at this senior table, which is about, 10 or 11 years now. And I want to acknowledge that. Before acknowledging that, though, I want to acknowledge the role of trustees. I think that trustees often have a very thankless job. They live in the communities in which they represent. The communities, they hear from people who are aggrieved. They hear from people who are not happy. You often hear from people who are pleased, for sure, and you hear people satisfied with your decisions, but often you are faced with stressful situations. And you have to deal with these stressful situations, and you have to develop relationships with the senior administration of the board. You have to develop relationships with your communities. You have to develop relationships with the administrators in your school. I and the senior admin have to do the same thing, but we don't do it voluntarily. You do it voluntarily. You step forward, and you are the ones that when the time comes and people say, stand up and be counted, the people on this inside loop are the people who say, you can count me in. You stand up and you are counted. And you come forward in difficult circumstances. You put your name on signs, you stick them on lawns, you put your names on ballots, and people vote for you. And you're prepared to do that, sometimes at all costs. But if it's not at all costs, it's at a cost. And I know that that is not easy. Personally, and I know I'm speaking for my colleagues around the table, we have tremendous admiration for the people that's sitting around the inside here for what they do. But I would also say that it's an essential part of democracy. Local politics, for lack of a better way to describe it, are extremely significant and important for local people. And you around this table have represented your areas, but more importantly, you've represented the Halton District School Board and the 65,000 kids that come to our board. So at the end of your term, I want to thank you. I want to thank you on behalf of the work you've done for the board, but I want to thank you for something bigger, and that's perpetuating democracy and civil society. And I do not underestimate that. There are some who do, I don't. And I want to thank each and every one of you for the role you've played this term in making this a successful board, and a board which I think is looked upon not just in this province, not just in this country, but worldwide. And I'm not exaggerating. And anybody in the public out there, look at PISA results and Google Halton District School Board as it relates to the UK and all those other, and you'll see that we're cited quite frequently. Thank you very much. From all of us to all of you, thank you for what you've done. It's amazing work, and I can't say enough about what you've done. Now, some individuals I'd like to comment on. First, I'd like to comment on Ali. Ali has devoted his life to serving the public. First in the military for many years. He was an officer in the Canadian Armed Forces, and I think we have profound respect for all people who decide to serve in the armed forces. And Ali fulfilled that role. He's left the armed forces, and he still fulfills a public role and provides a service. And even though it's been a short term, Ali, you've been here for about 4 months. You've done good work. You got up to speed pretty quickly. I particularly like your lack of inhibition in saying you didn't understand when you didn't understand. And so thank you, Ali, and we wish you all the best as you go on to future endeavors, and we hope that you remain around, because I think you've got lots of good ideas that will help public education and help the HDSB. The second person I would like to acknowledge is Rochelle. Rochelle, it has been an absolute honor to work with you. You found yourself in the middle of a very difficult situation with the PAR. Let's not beat around the bush. It was a difficult situation. You always handled yourself with complete integrity and honor. And for that, we have great respect. I have great respect. And I think that I, for one, will never forget the conversations we've had personally, the opportunities that we've had to discuss things, your advice and counsel at times to me and to others in the senior admin. And I won't forget your wisdom at the board table. You were often provided very wise and sage advice to all of us that helped us make better decisions. But most of all, I applaud your courage. You're a courageous woman, Rochelle, courageous person. And you should hold your head high, and I hope you do, because we're all holding it high for you. The last person I'd like to do, it's not in any order, but I've known this person the longest, Anne. Anne, you and I have known each other since before you were on the Board of Trustees. And I can honestly say that I have never, I've even now I'm tongue-tied with Anne. But Anne, I have always had great respect for your intelligence, devotion, and the comment I've always said about Anne Harvey Hope is her heart is in the right place. You're in this role not because of a hidden agenda. You're not in this role because you want to make a name for yourself. You're in this role because you care about kids. And you know the way to care about kids is to hold us to account, ask us questions, and make sure we're doing the right thing. And by goodness, you've been doing that to me for 10 years. But I'm so appreciative of it, Anne, because I think I'm a better director for it. I'm a better educator for it. And I wish you all the best. I am going to miss you. And I think I can't say enough for your contribution. And to all three of you, I think we are a far better board for your work and presence here. And I personally am a better person for having known you. So thank you. I'm going to refer to some of my superintendent colleagues as they too have some comments. So I think I'll go to Superintendent Etoff first, and then.
Once again, thanks for stealing my thunder, Director Miller. much of which I'm about to share has been covered by our honorable director. In all honesty, it was a bit of an arm wrestle here with respect to who would be able to speak on behalf of Rochelle. And since I have a little more tenure than my colleague, Mr. Pennyfather across the table, and we got rid of Terry Blackwell tonight, I'm it. So it gives me the absolute greatest of pleasure to speak on behalf of the superintendents, our school administrators, our staffs, and our communities that have had the pleasure of working with Rochelle over the past 4 years. As a longtime Burlington resident, Rochelle's had many and does have many affiliations with the Halton District School Board. And again, has had these over many years, and not the least of which is she's a product of our system. She's a graduate of our system. And it's been this rich background, in my opinion, that has really an experience that has allowed Rochelle to have a comprehensive understanding of the community that she serves, and to provide great insight over many different issues over the past 4 years. Right from the outset, Rochelle approached her new role from a learning stance, wanting to know about the issues impacting schools, and how she could best support the learning of our students, and obviously their overall achievement. Over the years, we've watched Rochelle work tirelessly on behalf of her community. No issue was too small. Whether addressing parking issues from some of our neighbors at some of our schools, or supporting her school councils at events and assemblies, Rochelle made the time. However, what most impressed me, and this is what our Director Miller was referencing, was how she conducted herself through the Burlington Program and Accommodation Review process. Despite really intense political and community pressure, Rochelle approached each situation with integrity, with kindness, and certainly with understanding for those impacted within her community and within our schools. I remember one particular situation where we had a difficult meeting to have with some of our Lester B. Pearson staff. I think it was the day after the decision, and Director Miller and I were there, and Rochelle insisted on being with us. So that was not forgotten by myself, and I know it was not forgotten by that staff. She's made sure she was visible. Throughout that process, she attended all the community events and evenings and public meetings, never shying away. She also asked important questions of staff throughout that process to ensure that she really understood the issues, as well as how they may impact students, both in the present day as well as into the future. So as a result, she earned the respect of many of us around the table, and I would say all of us around the table. So Rochelle, on behalf of the Halton District School Board staff, I'd like to thank you for your service over the past 4 years. As you reflect on your time with us, please do so knowing that you've accomplished a great deal. As Director Miller referenced, I can't think of any time where any tougher decisions were made around this board table that will have a positive and lasting impact on students across our system. So, and as although this role is ending, we know that you are already looking for ways to continue to engage and serve your community, which doesn't surprise any of us in the least. So, on behalf of the superintendents and on behalf of the Halton District School Board, I'd like to thank you and wish you all the best for all your future endeavors.
Superintendent Hunt-Gibbons.
Yes, thank you. And an illness in the program department and the need for Tina to fill in at the 11th hour affords me the opportunity to thank you. And I do so with a great deal of sincerity, as you were my trustee when I was your principal in Southeast Oakville. And I've had the pleasure of working with you in multiple capacities during your terms. You have an incredible attention for detail. And I know that the director teases you about that, but there's also a great deal of sincerity behind that. Whether it's accounting, grammar, you name it, you don't forget anything. You've always told us that you attribute your attention to detail to your mother's administrative career. You care about all children, and that comes through in everything you do. You are passionate about education, whether it's public education or post-secondary education. And this has also been seen in your devotion to Girl Guides and Scouting Canada for many, many years, as well as the fact that you sat in that gallery for an awfully long time and came to these meetings on a regular basis to understand, to learn, and to observe what was happening here in the Halton District School Board before becoming a trustee 8 years ago. Your long-standing career in finance and accounting has also been of benefit to us. You have been the chair of the audit committee, the chair of the board's standing committee on finance, a contributing member of many other committees from SEAC to fair funding. And in all of your work, your attention to detail and your accounting has shone through. On behalf of everyone here in the Halton District School Board, as well as in our local communities, we thank you. We hope that you find time to enjoy RV traveling, more time with your own 2 kids, as well as your husband, more time being an auntie to that nephew that you delight in telling us about and who is soon to have a little sister. And while we know that you will probably re-enter the workforce, we also know that you will never lose your commitment to education and to volunteerism. And on behalf of everybody here and throughout Halton, a sincere thank you.
And Superintendent Newton.
Good evening. I've been asked to roast, or I should say thank, our trustee Ali Chaudhry. It has been amazing to think about the work that you've done with fresh eyes in a matter of months. And upon reflecting about speaking about you, I thought of Simon Sinek, who wrote one of my favorite books called Good Leaders Eat Last. Good eaters, you're a good eater too, Ali. So good leaders eat last, and why teams fail or succeed. And being from your military background, this book was written with a military focus, and I just wanted to read a quote that I think resonates the most when I think of you. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. You can easily judge the character of a man by how he treats those who can do nothing for him. The true price of leadership is a willingness to place the needs of others above your own. You came into this role, Ali, being very clear that you were not interested in a tenure as a trustee, but wanted to come in and support and learn more, particularly as a parent with your own 7-year-old. I thank you very much for the rich dialogue we've had about what is innovation and ingenuity, how do you shape a board, and how do you change education on what schools could be. Most recently, we were honored to have you attend the Parent Engagement Committee Saturday, where you met one of your heroes who inspired you the night that you retired, Amber Mack. And really the question still lies, what will you be when you grow up? I thank you for your enthusiasm. I know there's great things ahead, and I do value our friendship and moving forward in Milton. Thank you, Ali.
And that's the director's report.
Are there any questions or comments for the director's report? Okay, so next is communications from the chair. So this is the last meeting of the 2014-2018 term. This has been an interesting, emotional term that has tested my resolve, and I'm sure I'm not the only person in the room or on the phone who feels this way. We have made some course-changing decisions at this table over the past 4 years that previous boards were unwilling or unable to take on, and I feel we have taken on these challenging issues, specifically program viability and the program and accommodation challenges in Burlington, by seeking out as much information as possible, weighing it, using the values we hold within this board, and making the best possible decisions with the achievement and well-being of students as our top priority. As we head into our next term, we already see challenges ahead with cost cutting as the prime directive of our new provincial government and accommodation pressures exploding school facilities into portable cities and potential transportation nightmares in North Oakville and Milton. Students need schools, and we need the government to hear us. As we peer into the next term, we also clearly see labor contracts will be on the table, and we hope that all negotiators keep student achievement and well-being top of mind. Tonight, we are losing 3 voices at the table. First, our newest voice that has brought a wide range of perspective to the role, Trustee Chowdhury. I hope this isn't the last we see of you. I don't think it is. Your time with us was short, but you are leaving an indelible mark. Trustee Pappen, I think of us as kindred spirits just because, well, our dads taught together, and you weathered some of the most tumultuous waters during this term's biggest storm, and your calm, logical demeanor held you in very good stead, and your understated strength and character will be sorely missed. Trustee Harvey Hope, your many years of service with genuine care for Halton students is so honorable. I know you will be missed both at this table and beyond. Your contributions and your knowledge have helped shape this board into what it is today, one of the top boards, not just in the province, but in the world. And I wish all of you well in your next adventures, and I'm sure we'll all meet again. Okay, so we have any committee reports?
Yeah.
I have to ask.
Committee of Crime.
Okay, Trustee Gray.
Just wanted to say thank you very much, Chair Gerbentz, for those words to Trustee Pappen and Harvey Hope and Trustee Chowdhury, and to punctuate your statements and your speech. It's our honor to just distribute a few little gifts on behalf of the entire Board of Trustees to these 3 well-deserving folks. So just want to deliver those right now.
Okay, so next is our trustee questions and comments. So I was wondering if there are any remaining trustees that would like to say anything first. Trustee Daniele.
Thank you. I just want to acknowledge that goodbyes are very, very hard. Whether there are goodbyes to people we've worked with for only a few short months, Ali, but I know you've already given me warning that it's not stopping here, and I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to it. Or somebody you've worked with for 4 years, and Michelle, I'll always be grateful to you trying to explain curling to me. I still don't quite get it, but you took the time, and I appreciated that very much. But for me, it's somebody I've worked with as long as Anne. We both look away. We don't look at each other. We'll be fine. I have appreciated your friendship and your guidance and your mentorship the last 8 years. Whenever I had a question around anything financial, anything along those lines, you were there. But even before that, in the years when you sat in that gallery and contributed to, or some would say caused, my addiction to Girl Guide cookies. And the first PAR we went through before you were a trustee, and this PAR. And just wanted to say all three of you will be very, very sorely missed, and best of luck.
Trustee Amos.
Thank you. So 4 years ago, there were 3 returning trustees and there were 8 new trustees. And we went through 4 years of growth together. We have dealt with so many different items, as we've already heard through the director and the chair, that other boards had not even decided to or wanted to try to deal with. We have, as a board, our strengths are our diversity. We are all our perspectives have brought our better decisions, and we have grown. And as the longest serving trustee here, I'm going to tell you, this has been the best board, I believe, ever that has worked at the Halton District School Board. And every person here should be very proud of what they've contributed. And Winston Churchill said, now, this is not the end, it's not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning. And that is so true, because this board is leaving a legacy for other boards to build upon, to grow from, and every decision we made was in the best interests of the students. And that is why we did so much good work together. So I'd like to applaud the 3 trustees who are leaving. You will be so greatly missed, but I know you're not going away. You're going to stay in touch, and I know you're going to get involved in other ways. And part of your legacy will be the great things the next board does. So thank you so much to all of you.
Okay, so I'm going to ask each of the leaving trustees if they would like to speak. There is no pressure. You don't have to if you don't want to. I'll start with Trustee Chowdhury.
I guess I'll go first. As the shortest reigning trustee, I want to say that working with Jackie Newton has made the last 4 months feel like 4 years. And that's a compliment. I do have some notes written down. I normally don't read notes, but I just want to make sure I do cover off all of the things I do want to say tonight. And is it too early to re-gift this back to the board? So in all of my travels, work overseas, one thing that's consistent among the kids that I've had the opportunity to help is their desire for education. So I've always thought that education is the gateway to opportunity. I want to express 3 different things tonight. The first is my gratitude for the opportunity to serve as a trustee and a member of this great board and school system. I want to thank everyone in this boardroom. I want to thank your teams. I want to thank our educators, our administrators, our volunteers, our parent councils, our custodial and maintenance teams, our office staff, our support staff, crossing guards, and the many others that I've either forgotten or not mentioned for their hard work in making our kids' academic adventure possible. I want to express my appreciation for being part of this public education team, this amazing board who is dedicated, underappreciated, hardworking, passionate, caring, intelligent, and most importantly, here for our school communities. So your gift to me was the opportunity to serve with you. And so I have a small gift for you. So I don't know how I'm going to do this without a microphone. Can I carry this thing? No? It's a rhetorical question, but. Okay, I'll say this first. So my gift to you is a small token of thanks and represents the total team effort it takes to educate a child. I might, if my bandmates are ready. see if I can do all three things at once here. I'm not going to sing, so don't be terrified. Not yet. So my gift to you is a small token of thanks and represents the total team effort it takes to educate a child. So if I can ask Director Miller and Chair Grabantz. Oops, hopefully it's not broken. You guys can rip that open if you like. So this photo here is a small depiction of our total team and shows how together parents, administrators, office staff, custodial staffs, educators, volunteers, trustees, and students make the education journey amazing. So in this photo here, it was a total team effort to actually do the photo itself. The photo was done by a teacher at Bruce Trail. And in the photo, you see the hands of parent volunteer, a trustee, an educator, an administrator, custodial staff, support staff, and all the other hands that aren't in that photo are still part of that photo. And the final hand is the small hand, which is the child's hand, which is my son's hand. And the whole idea there is that it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a team to educate a child. So from me to you, this isn't goodbye, but rather than see you soon. So thank you.
We'll hang it in the boardroom somewhere. And we'll take credit for it.
Thank you, Trustee Chowdhury. Trustee Pappen.
I think it is. Is that off?
Thank you. Okay. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Through the chair to the director, the senior administration, fellow trustees, people in the gallery, which includes my mom and dad, Rupert and Helen Pappen, and those watching at home. I would like to begin by thanking my family and last but not least, my friends. Without you, I would not have had the opportunity and the privilege to serve the students, parents, and stakeholders of Ward 4, Burlington. As I continue on my journey, I want to thank everyone who has been on this journey with me, who has shared their knowledge, their compassion, their passion, their humor, their love, and their kindness. My journey began many years ago. Penny Siebert, a friend who had decided to run for the Halton District School Board in Ward 4, Oakville, talked to me about her experiences as being a trustee, and it sounded very interesting. When she ran for re-election in 1994, I delivered flyers for her with my 3-month-old baby in tow. The second person who had a big influence on me was Trustee Marg Bullock. Marg served as a trustee in Ward 2 in Burlington around the same time as Penny. Becoming a trustee has fulfilled an item on my bucket list. In the last 4 years, we made some very important decisions. The core French move from grade 4 to grade 1, the program viability decision to change the entry level of French immersion from grade 1 to grade 2 at 100%, and the program and accommodation for Burlington, to name just a few. These 3 decisions will have an important impact on the face of public education in Halton, and in particular Burlington, for years to come. I continue to be confident that we made the right decisions. These decisions may not have been popular and caused much divisiveness in the community. However, change can be difficult and bring much resentment. But it also brings much appreciation for the hard work on the part of the staff, the senior admin, and the trustees. We were a pretty good team. In fact, I think we were a great team. We were the first all-female board in the Halton District School Board. My personal favorite accomplishment will be the naming of the Viola Desmond Public School in Milton. This is the first school named after Viola Desmond, and I look forward to attending the opening ceremonies. I can't mention the naming of the Viola Desmond Public School without mentioning my personal accomplishment of being the first Black trustee elected to the Halton District School Board and the first person of color to serve in an elected position in the City of Burlington. I'm very proud of these accomplishments. I will remember the fun things we did as a trustee, the Student of Excellence evenings, the retirement dinners, the leadership conferences, the Inspire Awards, attending graduation ceremonies, school council meetings, meetings at the board office. You never know when the music will stop, so enjoy the dance. I have enjoyed every minute. Well, almost every minute. There was that time in 2015. Just joking. To the Halton District School Board family, the trustees, the senior admin, thank you for spending 160 Wednesdays with me. To the school communities, the students, and the parents, thank you for allowing me to represent you for the last 4 years. I am a better person for knowing you. It has been my privilege to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Pappen. Trustee Harvey Hope.
Thank you. So we have 3 different trustees leaving, and we have 3 different methods of saying goodbye. Well, we are a very diverse board. I started this journey back in, what I've just calculated, 2000. My child was in JK, and they wanted to switch to all-day alternating day. So my very first public meeting would have been going to talk to people about why are they switching this to alternate days? To save money for busing. Then my child switched schools because full day for kindergarten was in one school, and we do single track French immersion in Ward 3 in a different school. Transitions. Then school council. And, my finance background, could you be school council treasurer? Yeah, sure, whatever. Not so good at taking notes. Don't make me secretary. And then got involved in the Ward 3 program viability, which was the precursor to the Ward 3 park. Went through all that. Delegated for the first time in New Central. Wow, Then got involved with the Ward 3 park and was one of 54. Those were fun group meetings. And I started coming in 2003 approximately to this board. I sat out there in the gallery till wee hours of the morning, long after the reporters gone home, and met a good chunk of the retired SO team now, and Stuart, who was my superintendent, and sat up there and walked us through all the scenarios. And I'd like to thank the educators my children had, which gave me a positive view of Halton, those teachers at Chisholm and Limbrook and EJ, James W. Hill, OT. I'd like to thank the trustees from the 2006-2010 board who, after seeing me out there for so many hours and flying them with Girl Guide cookies and suggesting typo corrections and a few other things, that I should run for trustee. So I did. And I'd like to thank the business services staff who took all those phone calls from me about school council issues and fundraising and why don't we do it this way and couldn't we do this, and putting up with my delayed reports. The audit committee members from my former audit committee and the current one, the people who contribute their time. The current round of superintendents, a good chunk of which I've helped hire. We're in good stead for the future. The director's office, current and former, and the smiles on their faces when you come in with all different kinds of things. The director, superintendent, associate director, yeah. All those job titles you've had while I've been around. I'd like to thank my fellow trustees, both prior term and this one. I also think this term probably had the best functioning board, and I can honestly say I've watched quite a few of them. I haven't wanted to drink quite as often after this round as the last couple, or specifically when I was sitting out in the gallery. I'd also like to thank my family, because I've been reminded how many times I didn't tuck them in, how many nights I missed, how many weekends I was away. But they support me, and they know my good things. And they've allowed me to do this job for as long as I have been able to. And my kids can talk education policy with the best of them, which I'm really proud of. And they speak up, and they're Halton graduates, and they are proud of being Halton graduates. And that's a big deal. So, as others have said, I will find a way to contribute. I haven't quite figured out how. I used to send emails. I guess maybe I'll start doing that again. And this may not be the last of me, but thank you very much for 15 years of my life. And I'm really glad Halton School Board is around, and we're generating a good generation of kids and citizens of this province. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Harvey Hope. And I think that it's appropriate that we say thank you to all three of you. Is there, I see no other speakers on the list. There is no other business for this evening. I declare this meeting adjourned.